Welcome back, team. In this episode of Dave Talks Politics, I'm Dave, by the way. I'll be talking politics today. If you're new to the show, then like the show, subscribe to the show, and click share. Send it to somebody who might be interested in this sort of banter. And let's grow this channel together. In today's episode, team, holy crap. Mark Carney's the guy's name. We're going to be talking about Canada dumping the West. Canada are leaving. They're leaving us. Canada, where you going? What did we do? They've packed up their bags and they're pissed off, basically. So let's go into exactly what's happened and try and understand what this means for us in Team West and what this means for BRICS. So Canadian PM Mark Carney's Beijing visit on 14th of Jan. Last few days, first in 9 years, marking a significant thaw after all of the Huawei tensions, the Meng Wanzhou arrest and Canadian detentions and a whole bunch of trade barriers that have been going on there. Let's go and have a look at, I'll just throw to a video of Mark in China.
I believe the progress that we have made in the partnership sets us up well for the new world order.
Yeah, right. So that was Mark in China, and he's really defining a new strategic partnership announced with China and focuses on mutual economic gains amid global disruptions like the Trump tariffs. Talk about bloody backfiring. Besant and Bass, you two are responsible for that diabolical mess. This is the blowback. It takes a while, but this is exactly what happens, team. Bloody blowback. Anyway, here we go. Yeah, like US tariffs and shifting multilateral systems. Bloody, you can say that again. All these systems are being ripped up, and you've got the bombastic Trump in Washington, and he's just saying, I'm just going to do it my way now. What do you mean, treaty? Stuff your treaty, we'll do it my way. We'll do exactly what I want. You can go get stuffed, basically is what he's saying. So, but I think this attitude will come a cropper, team. I don't think it's going to play very well in the long term. It's great, I guess, for, if you're on Team Trump and you really like that sort of thing. Then you love it, right? You just love it. You love the energy, but just stick around and let's examine what the impacts are. So, all right. So the Carney event, Mark Carney, the PM of Canada. So core facts of the deal. So there's a deal being done here. So Carney met the Premier Xi Xi, spelled Xi, Xi Jinping, I think his name is, to discuss resettling relations after prolonged freeze from Huawei extradition era issues and detentions. New strategic partnership emphasizes clean energy cooperation, agricultural trade normalization, investment opportunities, tourism boosts like visa-free access for Canadians to China. It's pretty significant, the visa-free access. It really reduces the barrier to entry if you're wanting to go on a shopping holiday in Shenzhen, having the ability to travel there. I'm a Kiwi, and my passport, I've got visa-free access. I just turn up, go through, and just like flying into Auckland, into a city in New Zealand. It's pretty easy. So this sounds like Canada's going to go the same way. They'll benefit from the same arrangement that New Zealand's got. And let me tell you, team, it's pretty slick, it's pretty slick. Okay, so Canada reduces China EV tariff from 100% to 6.1% MFN rate. I don't know what that is, but it's a lot lower than 100%, right? Aligning with pre-friction levels, but with safeguards to prevent market flooding. That's pragmatic, right? Drop the tariff, but you don't want dumping. You don't want China to just dump 1 million cars into the market and kill any manufacturing that you've got in your marketplace, because then people lose their jobs and they get all shooty. So so they've made a pretty good pragmatic compromise here. They've said, look, yeah, sure, we'll reduce tariffs, but we'll just reduce the number of cars that you're allowed to flog into our market so you don't blow the whole thing up. And that'll buy us a bit of time to figure out what to do next. So not a bad approach, and maybe those for the folk to the south of you might be able to cotton on to the same approach. Very pragmatic. Okay, well done, China, and well done, Canada. All right, so the EV quota, it's up to 49,000 units per year initially, which is returning. They're actually just going back to the 2023 levels, and that's less than 3% of Canadian auto market. So it's a tiny fraction of the auto market in Canada anyway. So it's very, very low impact. It's a smart move, to be fair. It's a very smart move. You're giving away nothing, and you're getting something in return. You're getting a lot of goodwill and a bunch of other stuff, which we'll go into. But I think this is a net positive for Canada so far, the way I read it. Okay, so let's have a look here. All right, so yeah, Canada auto market rising to 70% from 49,000 to they're capping it at 70,000 by year 5, which will control the influx while allowing for affordable imports. Yeah, so I mean that's a good stake in the ground. It's a good starting point. Notice we're just talking about EVs here. We're not talking about hybrids and all the rest of it yet. Okay, so China is on their side of the ledger. They are going to cut, or they have cut, canola tariffs from 85% combined down to 15% by 1 March. So they'll cut by 1 March, but they've signed this agreement to cut by 1 March, unlocking billions for Canadian farmers and creating a $7 billion market opportunity for seed and for meal. This is a big deal for farmers. Tell you what, team, farmers in Canada, they are praising this guy, Mark Carney. They are like, you know how to do a deal. You've actually, you know how to put a deal together and actually save the country. Well done. So now you've got relief on canola meal, peas, lobster. Oh shit, I like a bit of lobster, team. Crab, I get a bit of crab, yeah. With no anti-dumping duties, though, through until at least the end of 2026. Yeah, and that eases export barriers and resolves long-term obstacles for beef, pork and pet food. We need a few of those EV mopeds here. Bloody petrol mopeds are just so noisy. Vehicles are so noisy, team. Here goes an electric one. I'll show you this one here. Is that electric? I don't know, actually that could be petrol. No, it is petrol. It sounded electric going down the hill. It was like virtually silent, but then he accelerated and the bloody motor started up. Yeah. Okay, so this ends the Huawei extradition era freeze and detention, signalling a broader de-escalation, but no explicit lifting of the 2022 Huawei 5G ban in Canada. So that's interesting too. So yes, they are softening on the whole Huawei drama, but no, they are not removing the ban on Huawei in the 5G network. And all the telco guys will be like, yeah, just as well, you're losing your security and your sovereignty and all that sort of stuff. So so that's all covered off. Carney's done a good job to keep that squared away. So I presume the Five Eyes folk will be like, oh, okay, I guess so, as long as you don't put their stuff in your network. All right, so Carney said, quote, preliminary but landmark, unquote, adapting to, quote, new global realities, unquote, refers to US tariffs forcing Canada to seek alternatives. There you go, he's just being upfront about it, and reduce dependence. I mean, I don't know how diplomatic that is. Maybe he's actually having to respond with eye for an eye, but that's not exactly diplomatic. Critics say risks to North American supply chains, security concerns with EVs near the US border are potentially embedding technology vulnerabilities or surveillance. What a load of crap. Is that the best you can come up with? Are you serious? So like some sort of car, an EV car, one of these $11,000 cars, that's what they cost, these things. I've got an ad. If I can find the ad on my phone, I'll stick it up here. I think it's like 11 or 12,000 for a BYD Seal. There's this little EV car here in Spain. I just saw it on the train yesterday. I took a photo of it out the window. All right. Yeah, so the economic context. So the deal is expected to add billions to Canadian exports, attract Chinese auto investment within 3 years, creating jobs, but raises concerns on domestic auto sector. Here comes another bloody petrol. Look at these shitty things. Look at that thing. Christ on it. Jeez. Take that thing home, mate. Bloody hell, what a loser. Get an electric motorbike already. Christ. All right, so let's move on. The China angle, motivations. So China's positioning itself as a stable and predictable alternative to the US crazy talk, the unpredictability under the Trump erratic policy and tariffs era.
We let Japan come in and dump everything right into our markets and everything. It's not free trade. If you ever go to Japan right now and try to sell something, forget about it, Oprah. Just forget about it. It's almost impossible. They don't have laws against it. They just make it impossible. They come over here, they sell their cars, their VCRs, they knock the hell out of our companies. And hey, I have tremendous respect for the Japanese people. I mean, you can respect somebody that's beating the hell out of you, but they are beating the hell out of this country. Kuwait, they live like kings. The poorest person in Kuwait, they live like kings. And yet they're not paying. We make it possible for them to sell their oil. Why aren't they paying us 25% of what they're making? It's a joke.
I'm going to move, Tim, because I've just sat down on the most noisiest spot ever. Yeah, I tell you what, I'm over petrol cars and petrol vehicles. They're just so noisy, so bloody disruptive. You see a Tesla come past, it's virtually silent. Or a BYD. The BYD Seal, that drives past, you can't hear a bloody thing. All these petrol cars drive past, you need bloody earmuffs. You have to put your earmuffs, ear protection on. Useless bloody petrol cars. Okay, yeah, so motivation. So China positioning itself as a stable, predictable alternative to Trump. The opportunity to peel away US allies, oh Christ, amid Trump's tariffs, demonstrating Beijing's reliability in global trade and countering containment. Wow, oh, we don't like that, team. We don't like that. Threats included Canada as the 51st state. You remember that? Wasn't too long ago, was it, team? The Venezuela intervention, let's just Maduro them, you know. If we don't agree to what we want, Maduro. Yeah, they could just Maduro them. I mean, that's the threat that they've been using implicitly, you know, implicit the threat. Broader use of tariffs, more tariffs. They'll bloody hit you with more tariffs. And they probably will. I mean, I'm kind of sort of joking about this, team, but let's just watch in the next few days. Let's just see if somebody comes out and says, oh, I've signed a new executive order, I'm declaring more tariffs on Canada because you're cozying up to the Chinese. Let's just see if I'm right there. So likely response, escalation in the July. Okay, so there's a bit of work coming up. The USMCA review in July, and basically this is a bargaining chip for concessions. So I guess this is Canada reading the art of the deal and realising they've got to shake the tree and do something crazy in order to get to the table and then take the crazy off the table. Basically, it's the art of the deal. Push for concessions, and I guess that's kind of their. Yeah, I guess their play is to really push for concessions on things like dairy, access to dairy, digital taxes, enhanced border security to align Canada closer to US priorities. Possible sectorial tariffs, that's interesting. So sort of security scrutiny on Chinese EVs as potential surveillance risks. Again, total rubbish, but okay. Straining cross-border ties, yeah, because you've got to park your car near the border, and that car will be able to spy on our, McDonald's or, oh Jesus Christ, it's just ridiculous, absolutely stupid. Okay, so public US criticism of Canada as soft on China. That's going to be all over Fox News tonight, you watch. Framing the pivot as alliance betrayal. You've betrayed us. We kicked you in the teeth and now you've betrayed us. How ungrateful. Amid deeper US multifaceted ties. Yeah, exactly. Economic context. So tariffs are already costing Canada between 1 to 2% of GDP. Basically, the US are taking 2% of GDP off Canada. They're like, we'll have that, thank you. Yeah, to have a punch in the face and give us 2%. That's crazy. Disrupting integrated sectors like autos, energy, I mean, so many. Deal is now seen as a survival tactic against US unreliability. Yeah, I mean, it is kind of, it really is. You've got to go all in on these sort of things because they are. So you haven't really got a choice. So geopolitical implications, it heightens US-Canada frictions as potentially weakening Western unity against China. These candid dialogues with China lead to more predictable outcomes. If you did a word cloud on this, on the transcript of this video, team, China. Yeah, but a little bit of Canada, but mainly China. China's the biggest word in this discussion right now. And it's not just, and that's the whole point of this, it's not only Canada that we're talking about, the entire world are looking at this. The BRICS are looking at this and going, okay, this confirms what we've been thinking. Nobody really wants to punch them in the face because they're a big bully boy. So, but everybody wants to get out of their hemisphere, you know, the smaller the hemisphere that they claim, because that hemisphere picture, I'll put it up here again, it's so bloody important. We need to study this hemisphere diagram too. Let's just put the whole screen, I'll stick it across the whole screen. So this hemisphere diagram, basically, they put it out there in the Monroe Doctrine in the 1800s, and they basically wrote to Europe and said, you lot piss off, don't come around our place. This is our patch. If we find you anywhere here, we'll give you bloody hiding. And Europe were like, well, that's fine, okay, you know, quid pro quo, don't come our way, leave us alone, and we'll be fine. And so they did, they were fine for some time, and it was okay, and then next minute, NATO. Next minute, NATO. And the US basically runs Europe ever since then. So, well, not ever since then, but, you know, for a long period of time over that time. So, but basically now the US are using this Monroe Doctrine, and they're saying, well, I mean, back in the 1800s, the Monroe Doctrine asserted this entire area, the whole area on that map, as ours. So piss off. We're reclaiming it. We're restaking the Monroe Doctrine. We'll clarify it, and we'll call it the Donroe Doctrine, which is what they've literally done. So this is now the rest of the world saying, okay, it's you don't want to just go and directly hammer them because they'll kick you in the teeth, and they've got the ability to kick you in the teeth too. But what you can do is you can just walk across the road to China and go and do a deal, just like Canada have done now. So if you think, like, honestly, if you go through the 27 countries in Europe and you go and look at those member countries and say, are you guys seriously not thinking of doing this? I mean, why would you not do this? I mean, why would you not do this? New Zealand, Australia, I mean, yeah, I mean, Australia, let's focus on Australia. Australia, you guys really sort yourselves out very quickly too, otherwise you'll be stuck on the end of a rope. Stay away from that thing, you know? Be a bit more open-minded when it comes to China. Yeah, unless you somehow believe that China is not the future and that they haven't already surpassed the West in terms of their growth trajectory. If you think that you can turn that around, then okay, fine. You know, I can't stop you. You'll just do what you want, but it seems a bit ludicrous to me too. Okay, so yeah, let's have a look at the BRICS implications and signals to the hemisphere. So we'll kind of sort of covered that briefly, but you know, Canada not joining BRICS, right? Just wanted to get that clear. Not joining BRICS, but the deal boosts the Chinese narrative as alternative growth engine to the US-led systems, enhancing Beijing global contribution as signals to Mexico, to Brazil, Peru, Chile, etc. Possibility to hedge and to trade freely with BRICS and China without full US dominance under the Donroe pressures. Post-Venezuela intervention, the strategic autonomy despite US pressure, allowing diversified partnerships amid tariff uncertainties. And it's that diversity that, you know, the rest of the world is really looking for because of this crazy stuff that's happened. All right, and the potential erosion of US fear control as allies seek alternatives and fragmenting traditional alliances and trade blocs. which could accelerate more nations, deepening China ties and leading to multipolar trade landscape with emerging markets gaining leverage. That's fair. Yeah, and so for a bit more context, this enhances the BRICS momentum by showing Western nations they can actually engage without a full confrontation. Carney has sort of laid out the playbook here. This is how you do it. You don't have to go and kick Trump on the teeth to do this. You can actually just go and discreetly do this. And let's just see. Let's see what happens, Steve. Because so far all we've seen is him go over to China, and I'm sure Trump was briefed on the planned visit and probably got notes about what he was going to say. And I'm sure they've analysed that and they've made a plan to respond in due course. Okay, so the more conspiracy sort of theory would say that China, Canada, had a sidebar with the US to actually come up with this plan. I don't believe that happened, but the conspiracy theorists might indicate that. Yeah, okay, so implications. This could lead to patchwork global trade system with bilats, lots of bilats and pluralats with, lots of deals basically like a spider's web, and replacing or displacing the WTO, because I think the WTO is toast. It's completely toast, team. Yeah. Okay, so let's, we kind of mentioned the Five Eyes, and I presume you know what the Five Eyes is. Canada, Australia, New Zealand, the United Kingdom, and the USA. Basically, they share intel, they share surveillance, they share, they hoover up all the data, metadata, and then they stick it into a big system, and then they run AI all over it and figure out, who you are, where you've been, what your intentions are, what your preferences are, what you like to eat, all that sort of stuff. Your imagination can go wild, but their job, and they do a good job of this team, because you can just go and read the Snowden papers and you'll be able to see they're very competent. And this was a long time ago, the whole Snowden thing, but they've moved on since then, team. They've got AI, so very, very capable, very, very competent, very impressive actually. And they are, they leverage, essentially most of the power comes from the US, and they leverage the UK a lot because they get to surface narratives in the media in the UK, and then those narratives are picked up in Australia, New Zealand, and Canada. So the whole system is a big machine that monitors and sets narratives, and it's a very impressive system. So that's Five Eyes basically. So essentially, Canada's deeper economic ties are seen as a potential. You are the weakest link. It's a weak link, risking a shared intelligence and coordinated responses on security. Can we trust those Canadians now? They're in our Five Eyes team. They've got access to our systems. We rely on them for inputs, and I don't know. Can we still trust them, or should we boot them out of the club? Okay, that's the question, right? And that they would have been in their strategy for this meeting with China. They would have very carefully threaded that needle, because you don't want to be kicked out of that club, team. You don't want to be kicked out of that club. It's a very important club. Okay, so New Zealand is hesitant on expanding Five Eyes to diplomacy, and it's already balancing China trade with security concerns amid public divide. So there is a bit of a public divide there. That's true. I've seen it myself. Australia trade reset under Albanese was lifted with lifted bans, could inspire further independent engagement in prioritising economic wins. The UK Starmer, the invertebrate, is seeking repair through planned China visit, focusing on post-Brexit recovery and pragmatic ties. This guy, honestly, the world hates that guy. He's got one of the lowest scores in popularity of any leader in the Western world. That guy, honestly, I don't know how his party haven't biffed him out the door. Just terrible. Okay, so possible quiet divergence. prioritising economic wins over unified front leading to fragmented policies on China. It's possible, it's possible. And public scrutiny in in Australia and NZ and the UK, why maintain hostility if Canada benefits from engagement, highlighting the elite public divides on anti-China stances. It could fuel domestic debates on security versus trade, with publics questioning their policies amid economic pressures and visible wins. I don't see that, actually. I really don't. I don't think the public are that engaged. We just aren't. We're too busy dropping the kids off at school, picking up a block of cheese, filling up our car with petrol, trying to get to work on time, not getting to work on time and having to make it up. Dropping your laundry off at the laundromat. There's a whole lot of things that fill your life, unless you're retired like me. And you basically you're scrambling around trying to do all this stuff. So does the public really have time to understand the implications of what I just talked about for Five Eyes? No, no, they don't. They really don't. So I don't see, basically the public service, the bureaucrats who wear three-piece suits and walk around with an umbrella, they are the ones that set these policies, and you don't even get close to those guys. Trust me, you do not get close to those guys. You won't even know who they are, basically. So, and when they go and talk to cabinet, or they go and talk to a junior minister or even a senior minister, they basically know how to manipulate these politicians. So the ability for the Five Eyes as a concept to put on the political agenda is very, very low. Alternatively though, you can put on the agenda a more open engagement with BRICS. So instead of going down the Five Eyes track, the other way to do this, in a much more pragmatic way, is actually just to say, do we need to make more money, team? As a country, Australia, do we need to increase our income and be more prosperous? If no, that's okay, we can do that. We'll just shut down export markets, and we'll have less money. Same with the UK. To the people of the UK, do you want to have less money in your pocket? Do you want to reduce trade with China? Let's sell them less stuff and let's get less money. That's an option, right? That is an option. So you take my point, right? Okay, so a pretty stunning sort of development. I didn't see this coming. I had no idea this was coming. I didn't pick Mark Carney to be the person to do it. But there it is, team. There it is. He's actually just done it. And my useless bloody Android phone has crapped itself again. I'm getting another phone, team, because that's bloody useless. What a waste of time. Bloody brand new Samsung thing. Bloody hopeless. We'll have to get one of those big iPhones, walk around with a stupid big iPhone, just so I can read all my stuff properly. Okay, team. Well, that's all from me today. I hope you've enjoyed the show, and if you have enjoyed the show, then like and subscribe and share this with somebody that you think might enjoy it. But also, if you haven't enjoyed the show, and if you think what I've said is a total crock, if it's all manufactured and made up, then just comment below. Just tell me in the comments below. Plenty of you are. And that's okay, I don't mind. Put the boot in if you like. But just remember, if you put the boot into me, I'll put the boot into you. All right, team. Cheers. Bye.